Hi, so we're back with a new set of panelists for tonight. So this time we talk about romance, the romance of art making, the romance of being an artist, but also the romance of art education. So I'm going to ask first my panelists to introduce themselves, please. So if you want to start.
I'm Rebecca. I'm graduating this year. I'm in the show, and I have a piece on the 2D studios around construction of identity using my hair and glitter.
Hi, I'm Eleanor, and
I'm really sorry, if you just speak up a little bit.
Hi, it's okay.
I feel so pretty.
I'm Eleanor, I'm in the 4D pathway, and I'm downstairs in the K space, and I'm showing an Oculus Rift film inside a crash helmet with my daddy's paintings.
Hi, I'm Mark Ariel Waller, and I'm the tutor of 3 of these people from last year.
Hi, I'm Moya, and this is Maureen. And so we've been presented as Momo because we've been collaborating.
Mo.
Yeah, Mo and Mo. We've been collaborating for more than a year, and the work we presented focuses basically on our really close relationship where the other becomes a second self in a way.
So one of the reasons we all brought you together on this panel is to, as we felt like all your work really addressed question of identity and a certain idea, like a romantic identity. I mean, your work is, like from what I've seen, is really a lot about like identity and how it intersect with institutions, with different rules, etc. Your work's quite based on like family identity and a certain kind of like inheritance, and your work is about like mixed identity. So you guys can just like give your take on like what you think is a place of identity in your work, how you got to this point.
Well, I think for us, it started with the idea of a double identity. Moya has a twin sister. I was raised by an English father and a French mother, so we were very into this notion of duality. And also in second year, our tutors started mixing up our names and mixing up our works. So that's how we decided to come together and maybe work as collaborators. And what was really interesting was that so we were always confronting our two ideas of duality and in a way losing a sense of identity, but also by working together, recreating a new identity.
Because even if I'm Moya and she's Maureen, we created this third person, which is the Momo, and it's just a fusion of our personalities.
So if you want to keep going about this scene or whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I took a sort of a weird, interesting turn in sort of the direction I've gone with my degree showpiece. I usually do work that is very much about sort of image making performance of my own sort of body, and I decided to. It came out of a weird exploration of exploring and like revisiting my father's old paintings that he did of these nude women in crash helmets, and I actually forgot how many there were. It was actually a whole I only remembered one, but in my film I talk about kind of memory of my father's paintings as a child, and then I brought them back into the space and made a film about it.
I think my work originally had quite a lot of anger and was sort of about identity in the sense of the process of identity that was being forced upon me by others, in the sense of sort of binary identities, having to identify in a certain way, being asked where I was from or how I had to ethnically identify. And then I sort of wrote a dissertation and realised that those were things that I'd internalised in myself, and then the work became more about sort of just the organic nature of identity and using my hair as a physical object in the work, and this idea of maybe being seen or being intimate with the audience on my own terms. So
do you feel as though there's something going on here with duality as well, this idea that we are not one thing, and that perhaps an artwork is a way to kind of communicate this duality in a way that's not too confrontational, because it's very hard to say, although I have one face, I am two people inside, or like I have a confliction of identity which I needn't have to express because actually I know who I am.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting sense of being an artist, because it's almost talked as a separate thing. You're an artist, and then you're you, and then what happens when you take yourself as subject, or something about yourself as subject, where where are those lines sort of drawn? Is that a duality, or is it, are you able to encompass all those things in one? I don't know how.
Is it something that you enjoy, this like term of like artist, this definition that's like given to you with this capital A and this understand, not in an egotistical way obviously, but in this understanding that you're here to create and actually, you know, this is what's important, your relationship with your own internalization and then the ability to like put that forward for someone else to see in terms of identity. Like, is label of artist like a...
But your one's quite interesting in terms of this, because Eleanor's not inhabiting the helmet of the, I say, fantasies of your father. It's us in the
virtual
audience,
reality.
so she can hang back and enjoy again looking at us wearing the helmet. Like, you took a picture of me, didn't you?
yeah, I did. I posted on Instagram.
So yes, there you go. So she's taking control of the viewer. in another
Okay,
way.
so are you almost in a way offering a sense of identity for the viewer to experience? In
Yeah,
that
I mean,
context?
I think the whole kind of thing with the poem is that, or the film piece is we have a display of paintings of nude women in crash helmets, but then the poem links it to my father's identity, who's a courier, and I confuse his identity for other men on motorbikes, and so basically it's this idea that the wearer also becomes that courier, or maybe the
So the
woman,
helmet
that
is
they
the
become
identity
that,
in
yeah, the
this
hidden
context.
identity,
Yeah,
as they're
okay.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really an idea of transformation from what I got from all of you, transforming into someone else, transforming into each other. Maybe the transformation of your identity. As a more maybe down-to-earth question. So Mark, you've been the tutor of 3 of those people. How is it like to see their work like transform over, like from where you left them to the degree you're now?
Well, you two had only just started working together.
Yeah.
There was some connections, but this is a new part of your life, to be working in this slightly
As a
less
duo, really.
yes, less defined
Yeah.
And dressing
edges.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Now, but yeah, we've been wearing uniforms all day, and then we
Yeah.
decided to change.
But still
Yeah.
with the same colours of
Still
our
the
video.
same, yeah, it's the same colours of the videos, which is the red and the blue, and it's references to our cinematic
References, yeah.
Skoda, the blue and red.
So if you take yourself back to last year, when was this kind of change?
All year long, actually.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah.
Last year we were really working separately and having very hard. It was really difficult to come together because we had strong ideas of what duality meant for each other, and then we were seeing that our work was not working,
together, they were not working together.
but as separate workers.
Yeah, there were. So I think there was the first stage was like the confrontation and the struggle of the others' notions of duality, and then more and more we understand that we need to accept the others' notions of duality, and that's how we had to focus on the process, understand what was the others was trying to say and why she had such a different version of
The double. Yeah. And then we had to reinvent ourselves based on the other's ideas, but also ours. And we decided to do a video really from A to Z together. And that was.
So to keep going with identity, I think especially for the 2 of you, is it a real challenge to transfer a really identity-based work or less identity-based work to such a public setting? Is there a way you deal with the space? Is there a way you deal with those problems? Is there negotiation there?
Yeah, I guess it feels very vulnerable still. I mean, I'm quite interested in the idea of because all my work's wall-based and sort of the White Gallery wall sort of seen as this universal space where you can sort of just express yourself, but that space in itself is actually quite almost contentious and political in itself, and you feel quite aware of that wider context. I don't know.
Yeah, you're
that
placing
no one's
yourself
aware
in an
of.
alien area.
Yeah.
Literally, yourself. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I guess my piece was quite problematic because I'm showing work that isn't made by my own hands, essentially. I mean, the film is made by me, but the interpretation of my father's paintings are made by me, but I'm showing kind of work that is not made by me. And I think people almost want to fantasize that I'm like Law Provost or something, and that I'm like inventing like some kind of granddad's paintings of bums or whatever. But no, it's actually my dad's work. And I think that whole it's kind of showing someone else's work. And I'm hoping, you know, I'm sometimes I'm thinking, I'm kind of worried how this has gone down with the examiners, like that I haven't made work that's made by me. Like, how's this going to go down? I'm not sure. Like,
I can tell.
I won't know until like.
This is this
2 weeks'
idea
time.
that we kind of started the panel from
Yeah.
the perspective of, which obviously we're not trying to direct it that way,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to hear it come back to this idea of risk and vulnerability, and even in your situation kind of like compromise, which isn't the same, but you're still kind of taking away from your own vision and trying to fit in with the status quo. And especially risk in the context of romance is like very interesting to talk about, and I think that it's very difficult to achieve the affect if you're coming from a very internal perspective, unless you take that risk. And I just wondered if you wanted to give some opinions on how you feel risk has equated with profit in this instance, and if there's anything, maybe saying that you, in that space particularly, it was quite a vulnerable physical space to put yourself into. Like, do you think that gives the work something that couldn't have had otherwise?
Yeah, because I think like my work is called and has a statement in it, I want to offer myself up, which I think is interesting because in some ways I think it can be read as quite a sort of generous statement, but also there is that sense of this sort of sinister idea of sacrifice when you start to think about it, because of maybe the romanticisation we do have in artists is that they're giving something of their self. So then you start to think, you know, what is being offered up. So I think that does almost become part of the work, that's sort of how the audience approaches it or how they see it in terms of risk or how much I'm giving away.
Yeah, but you're giving them in a way your identity.
Yeah.
Very kind of sacred influence. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really interesting chat. I'm sorry we have to end it, but we're kind of running out of time. So it was really good to talk to all of you.
And congratulations on all your work downstairs.
Yeah,
It's really great.
we look forward to seeing you.
Thanks for coming. Upstairs for you.
So-
Momo.
Okay, a round of applause
Yeah,
for
thank
all
you
of
very
you.
much.